Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everybody. Did I tweet that we're live? We are live.
You did.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to Game Over Vancouver. The Vancouver Canucks lost in extra time. Again, this isn't Groundhog Day or anything. They legitimately did that again. Um, I'm Kaja Antic, and I'm here with Mark Sianquita. And I said that right correctly?
You did. Good
Awesome,
job.
cool. I wrote
Nice.
it down just to make sure. I look at how my name is spelled. Of course, I want to make sure I'm doing names properly. Before we get into the show, the Vancouver Canucks lost 3-2 in a shootout to the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a game that happened. There was certainly a
It
game.
was one of the it was one of the hockey games of all time for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before we get into what exactly happened tonight, just want to shout out our show on the Game Over Network, Hyperdrive Hockey. It's on the Game Over Network Hub YouTube channel. It's where you can find it. Max and Daphne do an awesome job there. It's fun. It's entertaining. If you're a Star Wars fan, I assure you will love it. I can vouch for Star Wars fans here. And also if you're a Star Wars hockey fan, welcome to the club. You're in the right place. Head over to the Game Over Network channel. I believe they have 2 episodes out currently, so definitely go check those out. Now, to talk about what the heck happened at Rogers Arena tonight. It was Alex Edler night, and I think the Canucks did a disservice to him. Because I know they're trying to emulate his style by being like quiet and reserved and stuff, but that doesn't work when you blow a lead twice and then don't do anything until like the last 3 minutes of OT. Mark?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they also did the disservice because there was only like 2, 3 drop passes into the zone. Seeing that it was Edler night, I feel like we could have used that for a little bit more offense, but uh yeah, not the best night, but you know, we got a lot to talk about for sure.
Oh, for sure. This game was so silly. Yeah. That's a good word to use. The overall in the game, the Canucks had 12 shots in the first, and then they were outshot by Philly for the rest of the game. It was
You know what?
6-5 in the second. Yeah.
Sorry to cut
Sorry.
you off. I had really high hopes in the first period. This is just like the first game, honestly. Like
Mm-hmm.
high hopes in the first period. They play well. Uh, really good puck handling. They were able to at least be confident and read each other's plays. But at the same time, like once that third period came along, it was rough.
It was rough. Yeah, like the third period, it was 13 shots for Philly to 8 for Vancouver. That's it's a 5 shot differential, which in a game like this where it ends up 3-2 is a big deal. Um it was just super disappointing for the Canucks overall. Like this is the Philadelphia Flyers. They didn't make the playoffs last year. It's a John Tortorella coach team. We're in Vancouver. We know how that goes. Yeah, sure, whatever. He's won a cup. Big whoop. It's I have no idea where they stand. Lankinen was on fire tonight. Um,
Lankinen was great.
he was great. That
Yeah.
save that I was surprised was a save, which I mean, credit to him and Kiefer Sherwood on that one. So, that was a big moment in the third for sure. But again, that was like Philadelphia running the show. How is it that Philadelphia of all teams is the one that pushes us around the most? You would think it's a team that we like see regularly or like another Canadian team like the Leafs or something.
Mhm.
It's Philadelphia.
I mean, to their credit, they do have a few guys that can be spark plugs. I'm gonna pull out Matvey Michkov, where he was it was very noticeable when he was on the puck. He was a lot more creative. Um, compared to not only like the Flyers but the Canucks in the third period, where he was looking to make his own plays, which is pretty rare for a rookie. But at the same time, this is a team that's projected to go lottery, even projected to go high lottery too. Um, but I, I guess like looking at it positively, I want to say that Tosh is gonna hopefully Tatcha and JT Miller hopefully are gonna have a good talking to the team because those first few games they were rough. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it further. They were rough.
It was
Yeah.
it was rough. It was not a good.
It's very silly.
It was very silly. It was very silly. It was yeah. It just felt like overall, like you mentioned Michkov, but just in general, Philly felt like they were skating circles around the Canucks, which when you have skaters like Quinn Hughes, it feels like that doesn't happen a lot. But even in overtime, he didn't seem all that like there, I guess.
Are you talking about Quinn Hughes?
Yeah, Quinn Hughes,
Mhm,
he's arguably one of the best skaters in the league. And
mhm.
we had the Philadelphia Flyers, they were so fast, they were so quick, and I understand they're one of the younger teams. I believe they have like 10 players under the age of 25. Like that's
Mhm.
crazy. It's completely different to the other Pennsylvania team. Um, because that's basically a retirement home at this point. But yeah, they were skating circles on that first goal, especially I noticed it. I think it was that first goal because the second goal was the is it a goal? Is it not a goal? That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. And I will say like to the Canucks credit, they were playing with four defensemen. Like Quinn Hughes played according to Shorthouse over 30 minutes in that game.
Yeah,
So I guess it was understandable that he wasn't able to replicate that play, those elite edges that we know him for in overtime.
yeah,
But that's just one player.
fair enough. It was the highest ice time of his career, and if I had to skate around a giant sheet of ice for 30 minutes, I think I'd be very tired too. So
I get tired after five. So
fair, fair. I get tired looking at it, but um, yeah, for defense, they were not what was his time on ice ended up being? I'm looking at it. Um, that's Brock Besser. Where is Quinn Hughes? Quinn Hughes is number 43. Total time on ice. Yeah, it was over half an hour because he had 22:48 even strength, 8:02 power play, and 39 seconds shorthanded. So Quinn Hughes had a night tonight.
yeah,
And he didn't get on the score sheet in any assists, so he doesn't get any closer to beating Alex Hedler's records. But yeah, what was your thoughts on Mr. Even Strength, Niels Hoglander?
okay, I will say, and everything I'm saying is, I would say the first two periods. I was gonna say that this game was, I guess, the blueprint of why people hate playing against Hoglander. Because to put it in the nicest way possible, he's a rat. He's just like Garland, in the sense that like as soon as you see him like go on the ice, like let's say if you don't know his play, you see a short Swedish left winger that may look frail. But as soon as he steps on the ice, he goes 100% right away. He will battle every puck. He hits hard. He hits like a truck as well. And plus he's able to snipe in really nice goals like that one goal. Not that one goal, but that first goal where Garland was able to get the interception, taps it right towards Hoglander, and he gets it top corner. Like that was great. Um, I think Hoglander's game was great. Um, but honestly, at the third period, I just didn't know where he was.
Yeah, I feel like that you could say the third period, like you didn't know where anybody was except for Lankinen, which was
True.
usually in his net, sometimes going on a little adventure, even though it's a bit anxiety inducing when him and she love to do that. Um, yeah, Hoglander, I like what you said, he's a rat. I kind of view him as, yeah, similar to Garland, but also like there's Tristan Nielsen in Abbotsford who is known for
Mm,
like fighting. And Hoglander doesn't like fight a lot, but he's you saw him like quite literally like straddle Garnet Hathaway. There's no
mhm.
better non-weird way to put it. That's what he did. After getting a penalty. Um he is a rat, but he also has like one of the best shots on the team, I think. Or
I
just
agree.
it's skill wise.
As a pure shot, I think him and Besser are tied. Like obviously
Mm,
Besser is better at finding the puck, but I'd say one on one, if you just ask him to snipe, I'd say he's one of the top scorers on the team.
yeah, yeah. I especially with like all of his goals came on 5-on-5 last year. And
Mhm,
that's a big thing. Whereas Brock, I think, scored most of his 40 yes last year on the power play,
mhm.
which also is important, evidently. We will talk about the power play. But yeah, the Canucks blow two leads, I guess, in one game because they had the 1-0, Philly ties it up. They had the
And
2
then 2-1.
2-1. Philly ties it up again with one of the weirdest goals this year so far. But
I agree. Like it didn't like at least on TV, it didn't seem like it went in. I thought it was just like a bar down that just trickled out, but
yeah,
it was interesting.
it wasn't until this I saw the replay that I recognized, oh, that's a
Oh yeah,
goal.
that's a goal.
Um yeah, and then another they lose in extra time. I know before the stream you said you wanted to compare them to the Oilers, but I have a similar comparison. The Boston Bruins, who were just collecting all those loser points last year.
Mm,
I think they had 14 OTLs, and that got them in a in the spot to play Toronto, I believe. That was
mhm.
either this year or last year. I have a whole Google sheet of it. But explain your Oilers comparison, and I will pull that up.
Oh, so basically my Oilers comparison was if you look at the Oilers last season, they I mean Oilers fans will tell you they were in turmoil where no one was producing, their game was just off. But as soon as that coaching change happened, it acted as a spark plug and I guess that they used them losing essentially at the beginning of the season as fuel to essentially come back even stronger. It's kind of like if you think of like the analogy of a string shot, like you could pull back as much like as far as you want, and that's essentially like you lose. But as soon as you let go, the farther back it is, the farther you can go. Um, and they were able to beat the Canucks in seven in the playoffs because of that fuel, and they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So as much as like the first two games, it's not a high point for the Canucks. It's two games out of 82. And I think with change in that changing room, I think they're able to turn it around. I just hope it's sooner rather than later.
So what you're saying is we have to fire Rick Tocchet.
No, not
Not
necessarily.
again, not again. I will say, where was it? Where was it? Yeah. Bruins had 15 OTLs last year. And
Oof.
because they had 109 points technically, which put them ahead. Yeah. So they had 109 points. Okay. I've my brain is fried, but yeah, 15 OTLs. I'm trying to make a
Yeah,
point, but I can't make the point.
that's okay.
They
It's
had
all good.
15 OTLs and 11 OT wins. So there's that. Um, yeah, mindset change. I was thinking of like them obviously, but also the Nashville Predators when you said like they need like the momentum to go forward after some adversity.
Mhm.
I was
Adversity, that's the word. Okay,
okay.
sorry. Okay.
Um, we figured it out. Um, I think I liked the slingshot thing. It made me think of Angry Birds for some reason. Because like it's kind of right. It's kind of right.
You're right.
They just need Angry Birds. So if we can get some more OTLs, just what? How does this happen? How did this happen twice in a row? Like I feel like we barely went to OT or a shootout last year. We only went to two shootouts last year, and we lost both of them. And this year it's just I feel like we also barely went to overtime last year. Like last season, the Canucks in total went to OT 15 times throughout the season, which I mean, Winnipeg only went 12 times. At the same time, it still feels like it's not a lot compared to well, Boston with what 26. Um I don't know. It
Yeah, I
doesn't
feel like,
sorry.
oh, sorry if I'm cutting you off again. But I do feel like because so if you compare it to last season, just as an example, like we didn't really have that much hopes going into the season. Like we weren't like reporters were essentially touting us to not make it into the playoffs. While now we're the cup favorites. So I'm just scared that we become complacent after the first period where it works out well for us. And then it just trickles down to the second and third.
Yeah, it's like they stopped caring at that point.
Mm,
Like I wrote down Canucks only cared part of the first and like the last 3 minutes of overtime, which if you want to win a cup, that's not what you do.
mm-mm,
And I wouldn't say we're like the cup favorites in the Pacific because the Oilers went to the finals and
of course.
Sportsnet had their prediction and it was just like mostly Oilers and I was just like, "Oh boy." And then they go drop the first game 6-0. So, you know what? It could be worse. At the same time, it still doesn't feel good, especially like um the power play as well. Like it felt okay the first time, but then they just barely did anything else with it for the rest of the game, even though they kept getting calls and nothing was happening.
That's the thing. It felt sloppy and it didn't necessarily here, I'll pull this up. I don't think it was that like too bad to the point where like we should overreact, but at the same time we weren't capitalizing on any of the chances that we had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in total, we had 8 shots on the power play.
On the power play.
On the power play, we had 8 shots just in the first period.
Ah,
So,
yeah. And in turn, the last three power plays that we had with zero shots.
true. Oh, yeah. So, it's just like what are you even doing here? What are you doing, guys? It doesn't make any sense. It's like um wait, penalty. Yeah, cuz they had the 8 shots on the Scott Lawton tripping penalty and the Mitchkov hooking penalty. And then for the rest of the game, they did not get a single shot. Like you said, 0 and 3. It's it's like they're trying their best to be mid.
I know. I
It's
yeah,
it's embarrassing.
makes sense. Like I like as much as like cycling the play on the power play, it looks great. Like if you're able to essentially play a tiki taka way, like take Barcelona's tiki taka and put it into a Canucks power play. But if you're not finishing, or if you're at least not putting shots onto the nets, then you can't grab rebounds, you can't get shots on goal, and plus you're not even making the goalie work at that point.
I think we also don't have the speed on the power play in order to do that, really. Because, like, I feel like, I mean, they're all like if you're doing like the tiki taka, there's no earthquake, I just hit my desk. Um um if you're doing like the like you need to be quick on the puck, whereas I feel like yeah, sure, they'll set up the plays sometimes with each other, but if you're it just feels like they're just not synced with each other at all. Like
Mm-mm.
I noticed it especially just even strength with PD, like he had no synchronicity. That's not a word. He was not
He didn't
connected.
seem synced up with his line mates,
Yeah, he's that.
basically.
Yes, yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't seem in sync. Which I mean, like that band doesn't exist anymore. But you
yeah.
get what I'm saying.
Which which I
Um,
will say, DeBrusque on that line, I still really like it because DeBrusque is actually trying to have PD find them in those spots. Like I think right now, like a DeBrusque PD Hoaglander line might work out. I think they're all
yeah,
left-handed though, so it might be rough, but I
it
think
it's better
just
than whatever was going on right now.
yeah, just to have that synergy, try it out.
Yeah. I would also it was just not a good game. They need to they're I was downtown today
Hmm.
and I saw all the like lampposts, they have like the all in banners. And I
Hmm.
find that so ironic because the Canucks themselves are not all in to a full 60 minutes. You could say it's 65 minutes, even into a
Hmm.
full shootout. Because, like, ugh, I haven't, like, some of those shots, the worst shootout attempt I've ever seen was for a Canuck was Bo Horvat's against Nashville a couple years ago.
Ah.
But just what are you doing, guys? What are you doing? Like too many Costco hot dogs.
Ah,
I mean, maybe, maybe.
maybe they might have tried the new Costco sushi and
What?
then oh yeah, Costco has California rolls now for $10. Apparently it's real crab though, so ten
Okay.
dollars kind of makes sense. I do really want to try it just once, just to say that I did. But
I
maybe they tried it, realized that this isn't obviously a $2 Costco hot dog, and because of that change of synergy in their body, it translated to the game.
yeah, they didn't do their
So
exact routine, so obviously the
exactly.
world's
So
gonna burn down.
so TLDR, the reason why we lost is because of Costco sushi.
Exactly. I thought you were gonna go like the food poisoning route, and I was like, no, we had the
Nope.
flu starter game last season when Demko like threw up in his mask.
At least he didn't do something on the other side
We've already had
of
that with a Canucks goalie.
his
We have that lore already.
body, but that's still gross.
We've yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry, did I cut off?
it, you froze for a second,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I think we're
Okay, I'm
good
back.
to move on to our second segment. But before that, just want to give a shout out. Um, Game Over Network is doing a crowdfunding campaign. Um, we have a Patreon. It is in the description of the video below, or the stream below. Video also accounts. And we are also doing crowdfunding through La Ruche, which is a Quebec-based crowdfunding service similar to Patreon, but it's like a Kickstarter for Quebec-based businesses because Game Over Network is based out of Quebec. So check it out. Check our Patreon out. We have different payment options on there as well. And if you have any ideas for crowdfunding, giveaway suggestions, prize suggestions, let us know. Sound off in the chat, in the comments, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Discord. You can find us anywhere. So, yeah. I mean, except for maybe getting Costco sushi. I don't really want to try that. Um,
I'll let you know how it is. I'm down to try
okay.
it.
Okay, cool. I'm more of a cucumber roll, yam tempura girly, so yeah. I
Ah,
I don't have sushi all that
all good.
often though, so
That's all
anyway,
good.
we're back to a man who might be having sushi right now. We don't know. Tyler Myers. Hey, he might have gone across
Uh,
the street. I don't know what time that Costco closes, but he could have been there.
hey, I mean, if he's at the hospital, that hospital is sushi. It's actually no, it's not bad
At St.
if he's
Paul's or
having some
VGH?
at VGH.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, like it's not bad if you think of it as like what it is, which is hospital sushi. But it's kind of like if you have good mall sushi. Anyways, Tyler Myers injury.
Tyler, wait. Good mall sushi. I don't know if that exists, but
It doesn't go for it.
okay, which one's good mall sushi at Guildford though?
It's the one across from the Tim Hortons.
Oh, okay. I haven't been to
Yeah,
that one before, so I
yeah.
will have to
Have you
check
been
it
to
out.
Togo?
I've been to Togo, yes.
What's your opinion on Togo?
Mid, I don't know.
They removed their best roll. So they
Okay.
used to have what's called like a honey roll, which is what's it called? It's a deep fried chicken teriyaki roll with sauce, which
Oh,
is really good, but no one ever ordered it.
okay.
And like their Oshi's okay, but I don't want to pay $18 for mall sushi when I could pay $18 for Miku, you
Yeah,
know?
fair.
But
Yeah. I haven't gone there yet, but it's on my list.
okay. Oh,
Uh,
Miku
is
or
that the one
Togo?
that's by the Tims? Or
Oh no.
where's Miku?
I oh Miku's like the fancy downtown one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
Okay,
I have not been there. We should
that's okay.
probably Tyler Myers.
Tyler Myers.
Maybe he's been to Guildford Mall for sushi. Um,
We should ask him.
we should.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, he might have a lot more time on his
oh
hands.
my God.
Cause like what was his injury again?
It was like a hyperextension of his right knee, I think it was,
Oh,
because I think he went, yeah, Myers down, awkward knee collision with Farabee, went down, kind of like hyperextended his right leg a bit when he went down with Farabee, and then he just kind of stayed there, which doesn't bode well for old men. Um,
mm-mm.
and
Especially if you're that tall. Like
oh
having a knee
yeah,
injury when you're like 8 feet tall is not the funnest thing.
like I already have knee problems and I'm like 5'7", so like I can imagine like add another foot, I'm dead.
Yeah,
So kudos to Tyler Myers for not doing that.
yeah,
But it looked like it hurt to have Tyler Myers, who took a puck to the nether regions during Game 6 in Nashville, and still celebrated with the rest of the team. That must have hurt. That's what I thought the injury was initially. I thought he got hit there, and I was just because
he got hit at the no spot again.
like
Ugh,
men, you know,
yeah,
you're fragile. Anyway,
yeah, I agree.
I yeah, that's what I thought it was initially, and then they showed the replay, and I'm like, oh shoot, here we go. Because that doesn't bode well for the rest of, like, obviously it didn't bode well for the rest of the game. He barely played a minute. He played one shift and got injured on
Yeah,
that shift, and the Canucks had to play the rest of the game with 5 defensemen, which they just overplayed Quinn Hughes, considering the rest of the defensemen were Philip Hronek, Carson Soucy, Noah Juleson, and
Derek Forbert.
thank you. I keep thinking he's a
Which
forward.
I will say, Derek Forbert had an amazing game.
Oh,
He
yeah.
Yeah, Derek Forbert had an amazing game, but at the same time, he's also left-handed. So unless you want to play two left-handed demon on the blue line, you essentially have either Hronik or Juleson playing beside Quinn Hughes.
Which is
And
like I uh, which is like the worst potential.
yeah, it's kind of tough just because like now we have to. I mean, like Noah Juleson, I see him as like a spark plug guy, but I don't see him
Hmm.
as like a good defensive player. Like he'll get you really big hits, but I can't. It's hard for me to rely on him on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the penalty kill, correct? Yeah.
I believe so.
But he was also on ice for both Flyers goals.
Yeah, and like I feel like I need to see replays, but like I think just like watching him play, there were a lot, I guess like a lot of emotionally driven mental mistakes that could have easily been fixed if you just stick to textbook.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about who scored when. Give me a second here. Da, 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 da. Oh wait, no, he was only on the ice for one Flyers goal.
Ah, okay.
Not the other goal was he was on the ice for the bluer goal. So, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
mean, still, like it's a -1 versus a -2, but still a minus.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not those that stat isn't like, oh, it's you don't take plus minus into account. Well, you know what stat we shouldn't take into account, like goal wins for goalies, because Kevin Lankinen, uh, give him a gun. He had a 935 save percentage tonight
That's great.
in front of a team that
Like,
basically failed him.
yeah, like the one thing that stood about Lankinen versus Sealavs was that Lankinen was confident in that. Like it, like watching Sealavs, like I think, I think as a Canucks fan, like we love Sealavs as a person and as a player. Like even though like obviously he was a rookie and like playing for the Abbotsford Canucks, he was able to save the playoffs for a bit. But I think as like a full-time starting job, I think there were some nerves in them, which I didn't see with Kevin Lankinen.
I think it's because Kevin Lankinen also has like such a like he I don't want to say he is kind of a veteran presence. Like
But he
he
has
has
experience.
yeah, he has that experience of being in a lot of NHL games or just being in NHL games. Whereas
Mhm.
She Loves is like a child, basically. Like he's taking his
Yeah.
first steps in the NHL, basically. Which is not a good position to just throw a rookie into. Um, I'm just looking at the 0 for 5 on the power play percentage and I want to puke. Anyway, um, yeah, I think who do you think starts on Tuesday? Who are we playing? Tampa. Oh, are we playing
I think,
Tampa?
yeah, that you know what, that is a big if because like,
I mean, they did
I mean,
cancel their game tomorrow.
yeah, I mean, thoughts and prayers to the people in Tampa. Hopefully, everything is like all right. But I think that game is still up in the air. I don't think they force it because like I don't think they like the residents of Tampa have been called back, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be a situation to watch, certainly. I mean, the NHL did force the Canucks back when like half them had COVID, so there's that.
You never know.
You never
You
know.
never know with Gary Bettman, but
Yeah, because they
it
have.
is an American team, so it might be a bit different. What?
Okay.
I did not say that.
Yeah, but if it's the detriment of the Canucks, then he's gonna be just joking. I didn't say anything. Yeah, so who do you think starts in Tampa?
I think they're gonna give it to Lankinen again. Uh,
Eesh.
or do you think they give it to Sealovs?
I think they give it to Seelovs. I think they're gonna go Seelovs, Lankin, and Seelovs
Mm.
because they play Philly again on the 19th.
Uh-huh.
So if they're doing a very evenly split, then I
Yeah.
could see them going Seelovs, Lankin, and Seelovs just so that Seelovs also gets the shot in front of the, defending Stanley Cup champions.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then I but the Blackhawks on the 22nd, I feel like that could be a Shelov's game as well, but also Lankinen because Lankinen he played for them. So there is that. I don't know. I could see them going Lankinen, Lankinen. She loves Lankinen as well. So we don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's gonna go Lankinen Seelovs just because I feel like because you know how the Canucks play a different game when Demko's in that versus when Seelovs was in that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they play Lankinen next game, if Tatcha has enough confidence in Lankinen to hold down the fort, I think the Canucks can actually play that offensive game that we know that we know them as, where they could actually push up the ice more and make plays. And if that doesn't work out, then we go back to Tila.
Yeah. For the Tampa game, there were 3 scratches tonight. I believe Vincent Desharnais, he's probably gonna have to come in.
He will have to come in for
He will
sure.
have to come in place
Yeah.
of Myers being injured because he was scratched for Noah Juleson.
Who do you
Um,
think they call up as like a healthy scratch for
as a
D?
healthy scratch for D. The thing is, my thing is like, well, Lannon, but then he could get claimed on waivers.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
true.
that's the big issue.
Yeah,
I could see them throwing a curveball and getting DPD just because he's waivers exempt, I believe.
he is waiver exempt,
So like, I could see
which
them doing
I'm
that.
kind of down for. He
Like,
does play a similar game to Myers, where he is a big man, like can play the puck, but at the same time, it's very easy to be exposed if he plays. That is.
yeah, if he plays, which
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him just being put in the press box and then running a train on running Vincent Desharnais through. Um, yeah, I and then they also have Baines and Oman. Do you think either of them come into play in Tampa?
Maybe Amon. The thing is, like, Suter played well, Bluger played well. Um, you could even say that Kiefer Sherwood was like he was forechecking really well. So I don't know if they put either Baines or Amon in for anyone. Possibly Aturatu because
Mm-hmm.
he really played any minutes in the third. So they
Yeah.
might swap it out for Amon. I don't know about Archie Baines
Yeah.
if they're gonna play him because at least Amon gives them versatility from center and wing.
Yeah, I don't know why they called Baines up, to be honest. But
Maybe for the experience.
maybe just to like practice with the team. But yeah, I could see. I was gonna say Ratu is gonna get taken out
Uh,
for Oman.
yeah,
That was yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. But you know what? I'm not in Rick Tockett's head. I'm
true.
not. This is not Inside Out. Um, I even though I do look like the manifestation of the anxiety for Riley, I don't know if that's what it would look like for Rick Tocchet. Um, I
I
actually
feel
haven't
like
seen Inside
anxiety
Out
for
too.
Ring Talk wouldn't have hair.
Uh, I just need to. I'll find my bald cap. Um. Oh, I have one.
Oh, 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 you do.
I uh I dressed up as Pitbull for a concert. Anyway,
Ah,
before we
I
get
love it.
into our next segment, talk a little bit
Actually,
about. Sorry.
sorry, can I actually just say one thing before we do?
Sure.
Uh, what? Because I was actually kind of thinking, what if they scratch Daniel Sprong instead and then play
Daniels.
Baines? Do you think they would?
I don't know because Daniel.
Because because he was somewhat invisible in that game too.
Maybe. Oh, thank you, Jordan. Um, yeah, I could see that happening. I'm also just worried about like the position on the wing
Hmm.
too, if they want to plug Baines in on the right side. Um, we don't know. I could see him keeping Sprong in and taking Ratu out just be on an experience basis alone, to be honest.
Fair.
Because Oman does have more experience than Ratu, and Sprong has more experience than both of them. All right. Just gonna shout out before we get into our next little bit. Game Over Toronto. on the Game Over Toronto channel. You can also find them on the Game Over Network. We got some amazing people going on over on there. They play tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Mark just wants Bane's fantasy points. Is that
Hey
true?
man, I do actually. You know what? It was. I think the biggest mistake is so if you go onto like let's say if you go into an NHL draft right now, just because we had ours at Game Over Network earlier today,
You can watch that.
um, which you can watch. But if you sort by like what Yahoo thinks is like ranked, like Yahoo's rankings for their projected stats, the last person there is Archie Bains. I'm not even joking. He's ranked 1,224. And I think he's worth at least 1,100. And in a league as deep as ours, you know what? He can make a difference.
I just poked myself in the eye, face palming. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I just want the fan service, you know?
oh my god. It's an NHL team. This is not supernatural. Um anyway, Game of Toronto, they play tomorrow night. The game starts at 4 p.m. So the show starts at 6:45. This is in PST for y'all Vancouver folks. Dominic will be hosting and Lauren will be joining him, and it'll be a banger. It'll be a banger. It always is over on Game Over Toronto on the Game Over Network. So yeah, versus the Penguins, Austin Matthews versus Sidney Crosby, Battle of the Mustaches. Um, yeah, I think Crosby still has a mustache. I I I, I don't spend my time looking at him all that much. I'm not Nathan McKinnon. Anyway, on to the next section. We mentioned this earlier, it was Alex Edler night. Alex Edler
Mm.
officially signed a 1-day contract to retire as a Canuck. He spent most of his career here and spent 2 years with the LA Kings. It was 2 years, right?
It feels like it. It
I
feels like one, but it might be two.
I'm pretty sure it was okay. I'm looking this up now, or else it's gonna bug me. Mark, would you like to give a rundown of Alex Edler's impact on the Vancouver Canucks? It was 2 years.
Cool. It was 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think if you were to call anyone Mr. Consistent on the Canucks, I think it was Edler. No, honestly, like once I think, because he basically grew around the same times the Sedins rose to prominence. So around like the 2009, 2010, 2011 years. And I think he he's essentially another outcome of the Swedish Canucks connection. Like heck, we even put like as soon as we drafted him, we even put him in Modo hockey and be like, okay, cool. Here's Marcus Naslund's team. Here's the Sedin's team. You're gonna be a Canuck, so you have to do it the right way and put you on Modo hockey. Um, uh, but I think he he was a very solid player. No, honestly, like it's with Edler, he's a very simple guy. The way he played was pretty reminiscent of his what's it called? Of his personality was pretty similar in terms of his gameplay where he can make an impact, but at the same time, like he isn't necessarily over the top with his actions. Um, I think like he mentioned this in his interview during the first intermission where he was pretty overwhelmed by all of the attention on him. Which is pretty similar to his game because at the end of the day, um, he was able to, like, you know how when we talk about players being invisible nowadays because of the fact that we don't see them making plays. I always saw Edler as quote unquote invisible, not because he wasn't making plays, but because of the fact that he was never messing up. He was always there at like the right time at the right place. Um, but you had players like the Sedins, like Ryan Kessler, and Mason Raymond who were able to make the plays for him. So I think having someone like him be appreciated at his time and being able to sign a 1-day contract was great. I do think he should have came in after the Myers injury because it was pretty early in the game. I assume his game gear was on, so you know what? He is technically a Canuck. He
Oh
could
my
have, but
I feel like
Yeah,
we also had that conversation during the BXA retirement too. Cause what?
easily BX easily could have as well.
Yeah, yeah. Alex Edler also played on the 05-06 Kelowna Rockets with two Canucks defensemen. Well,
Tony
one
Myers,
former
right?
Tyler Myers, yes,
Yeah.
and Luke Shen.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Your
Um,
first overall fantasy draft pick. Nice.
he was not my first overall. I drafted JT Miller like a smart person in pick 8. I had a net first overall. Somebody else
Mhm.
had it.
That was me. I was so tempted to pick JT Miller there, but I think for the sake
I
of the integrity of the league, I had to pick McDavid.
It would be really funny if you didn't. Because then you just know everybody in Edmonton would be like, whoa! It was
Ah,
really funny.
that would have been funny.
I did that draft in Tim Hortons drive-through. Yeah,
Nice.
Alex Edler, he was the last remaining spot person from the 2011 Cup run.
Mm.
His contract ran out. Thank you, Jim Benning, for that one. And signed in LA. I remember his return to Vancouver was I remember them mentioning on the broadcast because I've rewatched this game a number of times and it's like, yeah, he's probably glad that this is Bruce Boudreau's first night coaching because then it takes the attention off of him. And I just feel like that describes Alex Edler so well. Um yeah, he's a legend. There's a reason he holds all the defensive records that Quinn Hughes is going to break next year or this year, who knows. Um, yeah, he's a legend in Vancouver. He's a legend, and happy retirement, Alex. I really wanted us to resign you last year. Um, I was hoping for it. I was hoping for it. And then he went and retired. Whatever. He was drafted in 04,
Yeah,
91 overall. I was about to say who even was drafted like first
I
overall.
think
It
I
was
think we traded
Mikhail
up for him
Ovechkin.
too.
Um, his pick originally was a San Jose pick, and then it was traded from San Jose to Dallas, and then it was traded from Dallas to us.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I think I was reading up on the draft history. It was us and Detroit that essentially had him on their radars.
Mm.
And Thomas Gradine doing Thomas Gradine things essentially petitioned uh to get the Swedish defenseman on their team, which honestly worked out pretty well. I
Worked
love
out.
that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
Thomas Gradine has done a lot for us. I appreciate it.
we only had, oh my God, two other players that we also took into 2004 draft. First in the first round, pick number 26th, Corey Schneider.
Nice.
In the ninth round, pick number 287, Yannick Hansen.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
pretty good draft. Pretty
That's a
good
great
draft.
draft.
At least it's better than the draft that happened 20 years later in 2014, but we don't talk about that one. Well, we got one good player from it, who's currently injured all the time. Anyway, um, there was also a cool Canucks announcement during the game. Um, there's a new Canucks guide dog in training. It's like,
This is the best news we had all night.
it's the best news we had all night. Yeah, pretty much. It was the best. It was like Tyler Myers will not return to the game, and then the tweet after. Eddie, I believe he looks like a black lab, um, for the guide dog, and also that's a lab is like a common guide dog
Mhm.
breed. Eddie, he's the goodest boy in the Vancouver
He already
area.
looks like the goodest boy.
He already looks like the goodest boy. He's so
Yeah.
cute. If you haven't seen
He's
him, look him up. Well,
Yeah, like it says in the Instagram caption that he's not even with the Canucks until the 25th. I'm just like if Eddie is able to like come into the Canucks at such a young age and make an impact, you know what? He might become a top six forward.
you know what? I'm going for Oh, they just announced they have a new thing. Yeah, Eddie, the Canucks' future service dog. Um, I'm honored to have a dog named after. Oh, that's what Edler said. He's
Ah,
named after Alex Edler. I was like, I was like, what is happening? Eddie is a service dog in training. Um, he's going through in partnership with the BC Guide Service Dogs. Edler used to have a black lab, so
ah,
um,
ah.
seeing a photo of Eddie for the first time, Edler's face lit up, very cute. So yeah, Eddie, um, he's gonna be with the Canucks. Yeah, I think I'm going Eddie for the Calder.
Eddie for the color, I agree. It's gonna be tight with him and Michkov, but I do think Eddie will take it by the jaws.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
Michkov Michkov missed the shootout, and he'll miss the Calder out to a black lab. Um, Conrad said not named after Canucks goat Eddie Lack, our recent American citizen Eddie Lack.
Hey, if Eddie, like the Canucks pup Eddie, if he's able to get me a house in Vancouver, then we might be able to compare him to Eddie Lack. Um, but unless we can get Arizona prices here, I'm gonna have him compared more so to Adler. That'll be yeah.
The it's so funny when I see Eddie Lack post, oh, a luxury house. You see the price, and it's just like, oh, that's just a house, and that's just a normal house here. Like it's
Yeah.
absolutely
It's not even
stupid.
normal. Like it's not even a normal house in Vancouver. It's a normal house to like where we live, which is like
It's
45 minutes out from
yeah,
downtown.
yeah. It's like a normal house on like 84th and Newton. Like that's
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 so
what it
oddly
is.
specific.
It is oddly specific, but the amount of times I've driven down that road, like anyway, um, Eddie, I mean, like, he can have multiple name meetings. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
He's a dog. It's not like he'll care anyway. Um, he can't speak English.
Yet.
Yo, well,
You never know.
yeah, I never know.
Yeah.
I've heard labs are smart.
Yeah. Like if
Labradoodles, not so much.
like I've seen them talk. Have you seen Airbud?
Er- Earbud? Okay, get your questions in, uh, people in the chat. Like the video, like the stream, subscribe on the podcast, and rate 5 stars if you like Airbud. I don't know. I was more of like an animated person myself, so I'm a Cars
Mm.
girly.
Ah, I respect that.
Thank you.
Are you how do you rate Cars 2 in the franchise? Do you
I
think
love
that
it.
movie was needed?
It was
Really?
I love it. I have a certificate that says that's declares me as the biggest Cars 2 fan.
I respect you know what? I respect that opinion.
I will send that picture to you. I it's a totally
Yes,
real piece of
please.
paper I have. I think it's in my car actually. I need to put my Cars I have a Cars 3 poster and
Yeah, like
I need to
I
put it
think
up.
it was a good movie, but I don't think it should have been the Cars 2. It was more of a Mater movie. Like
Oh,
I would love to see in the Global Grand Prix more,
yeah,
but I
true.
think
But
it should have
also
been
Lightning
Scott.
McQueen was cheating because he was in the off season and they weren't. As someone who's gotten more into motorsports recently, like in the last year, like he was cheating. He was cheating. Anyway, that's enough of that. Before we get into anything, get some questions in, get some comments. It can be about quite literally anything. We could talk about cars for the rest of the stream. I mean, probably don't want to listen to all that because I have a lot of opinions. I'm sure Mark also has a lot of opinions.
I do have a lot of opinions.
But yeah, you can ask us anything. We're just here so that you guys will know who we are, in this brand new thing. Another thing, um, um, Game Over Ottawa, another brand new thing, is also airing tomorrow. They have a crossover. So they'll be on the Game Over Montreal channel. But yeah, it'll be Andrew and Damien. I'm sure it'll be very entertaining. And my brain
There's a very
stopped.
there's a very important question actually in the chat. Are
Oh.
you one of the fans that think McQueen is hot?
Uh, I don't want to answer this publicly. How did this is a hockey show. I,
Fair. Hey,
it's
let's
I this is a hockey show and I like women, so I don't know if this actually like pertains to my interests.
understandable.
Who is the tallest Canucks? It's Tyler Myers. Um, it's Tyler Myers who is currently injured. Um, yeah. So who is the second tallest then?
Is it this right?
I think it might be
I think so, because let's see. He is 2.1
Rustin
meters. How tall is that in feet?
McQueen's girlfriend, Sally. What do you think of Sally?
Sally's might hear me out. Descharnay is 6.6.
Okay, but for real though, why did they give a car a tramp stamp? That's what that
We're
is.
going back to this? Okay.
We're going back. You said it.
Okay, fair.
What about
But okay,
Spirit the horse?
like are we allowed to talk about this?
I don't know. Um, Vinny Desharnais is 6'7" according to NHL.com.
Oh shoot, okay.
We only have one defenseman that's under 6 feet.
And that is our best defenseman.
Yeah. It's
We
his
love it. We love to
birthday.
see it.
It's his birthday on Monday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aw, he gets a stat holiday on his birthday? That's sweet.
It's the perks of living in Canada.
Yeah, true.
Um,
Like not only does he get to celebrate his birthday on the road, but he gets paid time and a half.
Carson Soucy's from a town called Viking.
What?
Yeah. Viking, Alberta.
Oh, oh wait, Conrad's in chat. Tell us about tell, tell
Hey,
us about Viking Alberta.
yeah, Conrad. What's Viking, Alberta like? I need to know. Are there Vikings? Okay, but that's because the Vikings only made it to Newfoundland. They didn't make it that far inland.
They did make it to Minnesota.
Okay, but that I feel like that's been debunked though.
It's
It's real.
real.
It's
Okay.
real. Well, yeah, obviously it's on NHL.com. Everything NHL.com says is real. Just like Connor Garland being 5'10". It exists. Unlike Winnipeg. I
Oh,
love that
okay.
we're running with this.
I forget to talk about where Canuck players are from. Have you seen where Hoaglander is from? Hoaglander is from a lake.
Trosk?
Yeah. Okay, look up how many people live there.
That's a lake. Facts and information on Boktrask, Sweden.
So there's at least like there's less than 20 people from there. Like this I saw this stat where it was like 1 out of 20 people from Boktrask become an NHL player because there's only 20 people in that town.
Oh, there are no airports within 15 kilometers.
Which I love, by the way.
Niels Höglander
Uh
growing up. Okay. Who looks good for the Flyers other than Mitchkov? Not Jamie Drysdale. I noticed that he had a lot of turnovers. Yeah, he's still village of 20 people, according to a Reddit post. Who looked good for the Flyers other than Mitchkov? Sorry. What do you think, Mark?
Cam York looked pretty consistent.
Cam York?
I
Yeah.
can't necessarily say too much, but like he was annoying me, which is enough to me to respect his game.
Yeah, I thought Couturier had a good game overall. I mean, he usually does pretty well again against us. Um,
Do you know who didn't have a good game though? Barbie. Like, did he see that whiff at the open net?
oh yeah, and then he had to serve the too many men penalty.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the icing on it. That was truly the icing on the cake there.
does Torts just not own suits anymore? Look at him. Do you think that man wants to wear a suit?
Torts is
Torts,
just
sorry.
he's being progressive. He is moving away from the suit mentality of the NHL and is moving towards the NBA where
Okay,
it's more
okay,
casual.
okay, but Torts is the kind of guy who he will wear the tracksuit, but everyone else has to follow a certain dress code in the team. He gives
Makes sense.
it's like PE teacher, where they're like
Ah,
yelling at you that you have to do something exactly, but they just kind of stand off to the side.
yeah, like they're eating chips while you run laps around the gym. Sounds about
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Or or they're like standing there and they make you get out in like your shorts and a t-shirt in like 10-degree weather when it's raining and they make you run a trail in the rain by yourselves. You can't run, and if you do it in under 15 minutes, then you have to do it again. Not from personal experience at all. Um,
Yeah.
it totally not. There was some fun times. Uh, there are more Americans than Canadians on the Canucks. They're the
Mhm.
only Canadian team where the Americans outnumber the Canadians. I also have a spreadsheet for that.
Mhm.
I look, the off season I need stuff to do, so
Which is why having Archie Baines on the starting roster helps with that ratio.
by one person, I will
Mm.
pull the ratio up right now. Right? Where is it?
I will
That's
say I do like how the majority of the Canadians on the Canucks right now are from BC.
yeah. The Canucks have this was from last year, so every single player that played an NHL game, so Archie Baines is included. They had 32 players total play for them. 8 Canadians, 11 Americans.
Ooh, okay, Conrad asks, "Is Chick Hicks a better villain than Miles Axelrod?" And I will say Chick Hicks is the he's the type of villain that is like he's the comedic relief villain. Realistically,
Mm-hmm.
the first villain in the first Cars wasn't Chick Hicks; it was Lightning McQueen. Technically, like the antagonist was himself, so he had to fight against himself.
I see
So it was a
it.
more of a mentality thing.
I see it. I see it.
And plus, like the worst villain in all of Cards is Jackson Storm.
Well, yeah, because he's a
He's
cannibal.
because he's fake.
It's oh
He's
that
artificial.
he's artificial. Yeah, no, Miles Axelrod. I feel like because it was such a like I understand it's kind of obvious if you're like an adult, but like if you're a kid, that's a big twist.
Mm.
And I feel like it's also a really good social commentary about like greenwashing and stuff like that as well. I don't know how I make Cars 2 a social commentary, but it could be. It could be. It could be possible. The Queen's in it. You never know.
I don't
Um,
know.
I
I
think
never thought Miles Axelrod was a good villain.
really.
Yeah, because like at the I don't know. At the end of the day, he slipped up one too many times. And if Mater was able to like fill in the pieces, legit like logically,
Okay, but Mater unpacking an entire to bring this back to hockey. Mater unpacking an entire like multi-leveled corruption villainous capitalist
organization.
scheme, yeah, organization.
Yeah.
Mater Toe Mater corrupting that is kind of like if Tyler Myers scored a hat trick. Like
Uh,
That's how I
Fair.
view, or no, the Tyler Myers wraparound goal against Seattle.
Against
That's
Seattle, yeah,
similar.
I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
it was preseason, but it counts in my heart because who knows if he's gonna play again this season. Um, oh no, I just broke my pencil. This is going so well. Um,
Major
Mater,
with
what else?
solid hockey fan.
Okay, on that note, I think it's good time to end tonight's show. Um, yeah, like, subscribe, review the show, comment down below. You can find me at RealKayame on Twitter and at Kayame on pretty much everything else, because who uses Twitter anymore? And Mark, where can they find you?
You can find me on Marky Squida on all platforms. And you can find me as Squida on Steam. I'm just kidding. You can find me on Marky Squida on everything.
I was Steam, and I'm like, I'm not giving up my Steam name. Um, I yes, and then we will be back on Tuesday with Mark doing the show um when the Canucks play the Lightning. So that'll be fun. Um yeah, that's basically all we have for y'all tonight. The Canucks are 0-2 to start the season. Uh
2 points.
it's 2 points out of a possible four. You know, if they had a 3-point system, it could be worse. Um, I just realized I forgot to put it in the overtime. There we go. I forgot to hit the little button. Yeah, like, subscribe, find us, support Game Over Network if you're able to. Just join the Discord, subscribe, keep up with the shows, follow us on social media. And yeah, that's all we have for you tonight. We'll see you on Tuesday at around 7 p.m. to play the Steven Stamkos' Lightning. Steven Stamkos less Lightning. Maybe. We will see. Pending on what the NHL says. So, I mean,
Hey.
hopefully Milton's okay by then, but we'll see. Alright, good night,
Thanks,
everybody!
guys. Good night.